cheating on the wife for the welfare of their family. Dear Tony, if you are reading this letter, it means that I have already left this world. At the hospital, I wanted to explain everything, to tell you my side of the story, but you were so angry that no one could get you to talk to me. From what you said, I had no idea you hated me so much. I know I hurt you, I know I was wrong, I know I did bad things. But you're the only one I love. No matter what I did on the street, I always came home to you, my husband. It was in your arms that I felt safe. I always gave you the love you needed. I always took care of you and was always there for you. You broke my heart when you told me I stole your youth and your life. Do you still remember when your parents died in a car accident? You dropped everything. You didn't want to go to school. You even thought about killing yourself. I was there for you, honey. Your pain was my pain. I cried too. But I never let you know because I needed to be strong to put you out of your misery. In the beginning, when you started your own business, it was extremely difficult for you. It wasn't what you expected, what you dreamed of. You had no job, no contracts, and you were panicking. You knocked on all kinds of doors, but no one wanted to trust a newbie. Without letting you know, I contacted the CEO of Walter Construction Corp. And set up a meeting. When he first saw me in his office, I knew exactly what he wanted. That same day we had sex in a hotel room, and the next day you signed your first contract. I did it for you, my love, just for you. Yeah, I was a cheater in high school. I slept with half the guys and teachers. My first boyfriend, Andrew, dumped me when he found out what I was doing. He even dropped out of school because he was embarrassed. Why did I do that? It was obvious with the teachers. For higher grades because I wasn't that smart. At that young age, I was a party girl. I was just like those men who bragged about sleeping with lots of women. I felt needed, turned on, satisfied, strong, and above all, superior to other girls. And so it went on until university. There I used guys in the same way. They did all my tasks, and in return, they got my love. I'm really sorry I missed your graduation, my love. I regret it even today. I should have been by your side that day, celebrating your success. The guy who prepared my graduation paper wanted me to be there to celebrate his friend's lovemaking, or he wouldn't have given it to me. I went there reluctantly. You have to believe me. They say I had sex with everyone at work. They're lying. It was just Bill, John, and Steve. I did it for an important reason, and it's the same reason that led to our downfall and misery. Money. When they came to me and explained how we could manipulate the returns on the portfolios of some large clients, I was tempted. I won't go into details. Bill had found a way to transfer a small percentage to an outside offshore bank account, but he needed all our help. He said that if we acted discreetly, no one would notice anything. And if the scheme was ever uncovered, the company would only fire us and not turn us over to the authorities, because it would create a bad image and lose credibility with existing and future customers. It would tarnish its reputation. It took me a few days to think about it. I knew you wanted to have kids, and my goal was to be a stay-at-home mom and give you as many kids as you wanted. If it was just you working, it would have been impossible for us to accomplish that. That's when I decided to become part of the group. Along the way, I started with a small share. Every time the four of us met, it had nothing to do with our work. It was for our side business. After that, I had to sleep with them to get a raise. Over time, our lovemaking sessions became a routine. I know I allowed myself to keep going. Each time I promised myself I would stop, but the ever-increasing money coming in always made me change my mind. Several times at night when I saw you sleeping, I cried. I always felt guilty. You are such a good man, the best husband a woman can find. You were always patient with me, and yet I cheated on you. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't deserve it. That day you dropped me off at Bill's mansion was the worst day of my life. I knew I was going to make love to 3 men, and you, as an innocent and faithful husband, just drove your wife to her lover's place. When I got home that night, you were in a deep sleep. I held you in my arms and cried all night. Several times I wanted to sit down and tell you the whole truth and apologize, but I was afraid of your reaction. I loved you, and I didn't want to lose you. Every time I was with them, I said words that belittled you in some way. I did it to make them feel like they were the best lovers in the world. But my only man is you. When you made love to me, you took me to heaven. You are the one and only who could do wonders with me. That Saturday, I had already made the decision that this would be my last date. I would resign the following Monday. I had already saved about $2 million, and I would invest that money with a good return. That would be enough as my share for the rest of our family's life. I would consult a psychiatrist to get myself healed and stop taking pills. I was hurt when I denied you the quick sex you wanted before your trip to negotiate. I can still see your disappointed face. Do you still remember my last words to you before you left? I thanked you for being patient with me and that I would be all yours when you returned. I wasn't kidding. No one ever expected our evening celebration to turn into hell. We were in the midst of our activity when 8 masked men burst into the mansion. Bill, John, Steve, and I were so shocked and panicked that we froze motionless. Their main goal was to get information from us about our offshore accounts. To this day, I don't know how anyone but the 4 of us knew of our plan. We were very careful, and I don't think any of us blabbed. It could have been someone who had been watching us from the beginning. They used us brutally, with no defense. They humiliated us. Each of us was dragged by 2 guys to Bill's office to get our bank details. Now that I think back, those 2 never touched us. Maybe they knew the other 6 were disease carriers. As I stood in front of them, one of them saw my ring and asked me which of the 3 was my husband. The world stopped. In the blink of an eye, my whole life unfolded in front of me, my parents, my youth, and you, my one and only love, my husband. When it came to my infidelity and cheating, I started crying. After they transferred all our money into their bank accounts, they took us to some sort of abandoned warehouse. It got even worse therewith in humiliation and beatings. They starved us and then treated us like animals, throwing food on the floor for us to eat. Bill, John, and Steve were threatened with a knife at the neck to use on each other. I prayed for this nightmare to stop. The real hell came over us when the doctor came to the warehouse a couple days later. We had been thoroughly washed. They didn't want to leave any trace. One by one, we were taken to a private room. I was the last one. I was put on the operating table, and I was very scared. The last thing I remembered was the doctor examining me, inserting a syringe into my vein, and injecting some kind of drug into me. When I woke up, I was in the hospital, and I couldn't feel my tongue. I had severe pain in my stomach. Later, the doctor told me what had really happened to me. I had no breasts, and my tongue had been cut off. I cried until I had no tears left. The nurse then told me that Bill, John, and Steve had also had their tongues cut off along with their dignity and balls. How could people be so cruel? Why did they do this to us when they had already gotten what they wanted? Why did they torture and mutilate us? Did they make us pay for our sins? When Dad told me you didn't want to see me, my heart broke. That was the day I wanted you more than anything in my life. I wanted you to hold me in your arms and take me home to our house. As I mentioned earlier, only in your arms do I feel safe. I wanted you by my side. You're my rock, Tony. Without you, I'm nothing. You killed me when you handed me divorce papers while I was lying in a hospital bed. The pain was worse than what I went through in captivity. The doctor managed to cure the STDs the bad guys gave me, but the day our divorce was announced, I got the second shock of my life. I was HIV positive. Without you by my side, being a mutilated woman and unable to procreate, I chose not to fight the disease. My parents tried to change my mind, but I reminded them that when they died, there would be no one to look after me. I read in the paper that John and Steve had committed suicide, and Dad told me that Bill had sold his mansion and disappeared. That's where temptation led us. I also heard that John and Steve's wives, Lisa and Beth, moved in with you after the divorce. You're obviously very busy right now. My mom was in town one day and saw you with your wives, Lisa with a baby and a pregnant Beth. I felt jealous but couldn't help it. That's karma. I just wish you all the happiness in the world. I would like to ask you just one thing. Whenever you think of me or something reminds you of me, please think of the good times we had together. Think of our precious and private moments. Think about our first date. Don't hate me, Tony, and please forgive me. I would give anything to go back in time. I feel very weak to continue this letter. I have to sign it now. From the woman who loved only you, Anna. After the funeral, as Tony walked Beth and Lisa to their car, John rushed over to him. Tony, please wait. I'm sorry for the loss of your daughter, John, Tony said in a sad voice. She left this for you. John pulled a sealed envelope out of his pocket and held it out to Tony. Tony examined the envelope from front to back. He read his handwritten name and smiled. She sealed it and no one could read it, said John, sobbing. Thank you, John. If there is anything I can do for you, please let me know. John nodded, wiped his eyes, and left. On the way home, Tony was being thoughtful. Beth and Lisa sat in the back seat of the car. The baby was asleep. The letter lay on the front passenger seat. The two women looked at each other and said nothing. Suddenly, Tony slowed down and parked on the curb. He picked up the envelope and looked at Anna's handwriting. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then he tore the letter into small pieces and threw them out the window. A gust of wind picked up the pieces and carried them away. By the way, Beth said and giggled, I've got that itch again. You know how it usually is in pregnant women. They all laughed. Well, life goes on. The end. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.